Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Last time, Jo Hwi completely outplayed a legendary grandmaster in a shocking verbal sparring match. By winning 13 straight mental battles, he didn't just save his family name, he changed the power balance of the entire province. Now in Chapter 12, the consequences of that match lead to unexpected romance, hidden martial secrets, and a serious reality check for our hero. So let's get right into it. Inside the Grand Chamber, the atmosphere remains heavy with disbelief. The wild-haired Grandmaster Elder leans back and lets out a long, defeated sigh. His pride may be shattered, but his obsession with Jo Hwi's unmatched strategic mind has only grown. Then our MC calmly says, "All right, let's have another verbal sparring match in 15 days. Hearing this, the old man immediately seizes the opportunity. He glares directly at Jo Hwi and barks an absolute command to make sure his prized disciple doesn't slip away. Good, do not leave this palace until then. The moment the command leaves his mouth, the old man undergoes a sudden, explosive movement. Driven by a frantic, unhinged energy to solve the riddle of Jo Hwi's tactics, he storms out of the room to immediately find his son for intense practice. Jo Hwi can only stand there, but inside his mind, the spirit of the ancient sword god is absolutely howling with laughter. The ghostly aura of the legendary master floats right behind Jo Hwi, looking at the frantic elders with pure condescending amusement. The sword god chuckles to himself, highly entertained by the sheer absurdity of the situation. I wonder what expression he'll have once he learns that his verbal sparring partner was actually the sword god. Meanwhile, the third brother of the family stands nearby, quietly analyzing the entire situation. He is deeply shocked because he knows how incredibly difficult it is to project an entire combat sequence purely within one's mind. He wonders if Jo Hwi is an absolute monster, especially since the boy managed to keep his inner strength completely hidden throughout the entire confrontation. An idea strikes the second brother. Realizing that Jo Hwi is a once-in-a-generation talent, he decides the clan needs to secure a permanent bond with him through marriage. He loudly asks the third brother if he remembers their granddaughter, Namgung So, who holds the legendary title of the most beautiful flower of the Namgung family. Hearing her name, Jo Hwi recognizes her reputation, noting that her beauty is famous throughout the land. The second brother proudly claims her as his granddaughter and declares that they should introduce her to Jo Hwi immediately. However, the third brother quickly interrupts, pointing out a massive flaw in the plan by revealing that So already has an official fiancé, the famous Hwasan Soryang. This completely outrages the second brother, who furiously shouts back, demanding to know who allowed his precious granddaughter to be promised to a broke monk from the Hwasan sect. The two elderly brothers begin bicker loudly over the family tree, leaving Jo Hwi standing awkwardly in the corner. Cut to a bit later, and Jo Hwi is walking through the beautiful courtyard estates, feeling the weight of his new confinement. He is in a massive predicament. While it is fantastic that he managed to get on the good side of the powerful Namgung elders, being locked down for 15 days is a disaster for his modern entrepreneurial plans. He has a business enterprise to run, and he desperately needs to visit Gumchang. As he ponders his next move, he spots an array of traditional string instruments laid out in a serene pavilion. His corporate stress gets the better of him, and he decides to check them out. Plucking the strings, he notes the traditional scale, do, re, mi, so, la. Being a former university student from modern Korea, his mind immediately jumps to Western musical theory based on the C major scale. He runs his fingers across the strings, remembering his old days playing the guitar. He intentionally adjusts the tuning pegs, plucking 3 strings simultaneously to create a beautifully harmonized chord. "How did you do that?" Jo Hwi freezes. Standing right behind him is a strikingly beautiful young woman with long, flowing dark hair and wide, expressive eyes. She looks absolutely breathless, completely captivated by the sound he just produced. She presses closer, entirely fascinated. She explains that in traditional Eastern music, combined notes are only played alongside entirely different instruments to create harmony. Playing a full, unified chord on a single stringed instrument is something she has never seen before. She practically begs him to teach her his secret. Jo Hwi, keeping his cool corporate demeanor, tells her it is actually quite simple. He asks her to tune the pegs to very specific intermediate frequencies, specifically, the exact middle points between traditional notes. She eagerly obliges, adjusting the tension until Jo Hwi confirms the exact pitch. The young woman recognizes the notes instantly through her traditional training, identifying them as Yung Ryo, the 6th of the 12 traditional Eastern notes, and Yung Jong, the 12th note. Jo Hwi smiles and introduces her to a fundamental concept of modern music, chords. He walks her through the finger placements for a standard C chord. Her eyes light up with pure amazement. However, her curiosity catches up with her and she tilts her head asking, "But what exactly is a C chord?" Jo Hwi panics internally. How on earth is he going to explain Western music theory, the circle of fifths, and modern scale notation to a young lady in ancient historical China? Realizing it is a dead end, he mentally throws his hands up and says, "Next up is the D chord." As he plays, she cheers with joy. Unbeknownst to them, the elder is watching from the shadows, completely stunned. He notes that So, who has never shown even a microscopic amount of interest in the most formidable young masters of the great clans, is currently laughing, smiling, and hanging on every word of this mysterious young man. Yes, this beautiful musician is indeed Namgung So herself. So asks if the notes he just combined were do, mi, and ti, and Jo Hwi shows her how they connect. He modestly claims his skills aren't grand enough to execute it perfectly, so Saso takes over the strings. She plucks a rhythm, and as the melody echoes through the courtyard, Jo Hwi's eyes nearly pop out of his head. The bass line she is playing sounds identical to Girls Like You by Maroon 5. Jo Hwi is absolutely floored. He realizes right then and there that this girl isn't just a traditional musician. She is an absolute musical genius who can replicate complex modern pop structures after hearing them just once. When the elder finally steps out of the shadows and asks Jo Hwi what he thinks of their precious So, Jo Hwi looks at her sparkling, radiant face. Comparing her to all the top-tier K-pop celebrities and actresses he knew back in modern Korea, he genuinely concedes that she is remarkably beautiful. As night falls, the romantic and lighthearted energy evaporates into thin air. Jo Hwi is sitting cross-legged in his guest quarters, the room illuminated only by a dim lantern. He calls out to the entity residing within him, Elder Sword God. The glowing red amulet around his neck shines as the ghostly presence manifests. Jo Hwi demands to know the truth. Why were the high elders of the Namgung clan so utterly terrified and shocked by his physical state? What did the sword god actually do to his body? The sword god casually shrugs it off. He explains that all he did was forcefully implant one of his personal signature techniques directly into Jo Hwi's physical vessel, the heavenly god speed sword. Jo Hwi, still lacking complete context of this world's power scaling, innocently asks if it's really that great of a technique. He notes that even as they speak, something inside his body is rotating at such an extreme, violent velocity that he is starting to get seriously worried. The sword god scoffs at his ignorance. He clarifies that since he forcefully pried open Jo Hwi's key meridians, a massive acceleration of inner strength is completely natural. He assures him that he will reach absolute, complete mastery of the style within 3 years. Jo Hwi presses further, asking if this style is superior to the top-secret arts taught exclusively to the high elders of the Namgung clan. This completely sets the sword god off. His ghostly form erupts in fury as he yells about how much Jo Hwi is severely underestimating his legacy. He declares that across the entire land, there are only 3 specific styles in existence that can hope to match his heavenly god speed sword. The first one is the Hyeonung's Great Tiger style, the second one is the Sampung's Tiguk style, and the third one is the Mushin's Muguk Cosmos style. Jo Hwi, trying to gauge the landscape, asks about other legendary arts he has heard rumors about, such as the Wasan clan's Violet Sunset technique or the ultimate arts of the feared Chunma, Heavenly Demon. The sword god looks utterly disgusted. He commands Jo Hwi never to mention the third-rate garbage of the Chunma ever again. As for the Wasan clan's Violet Sunset technique, he admits he has never heard of it or experienced it. Jo Hwi wonders if the Wasan clan didn't even exist during the sword god's era. But the spirit corrects him. The clan existed, but no such technique existed back then. It must be a style cooked up by later generations. Jo Hwi's inner corporate strategist starts doing the math. This means he has successfully bypassed decades of brutal cultivation to possess an ultimate technique that stands atop the entire martial arts world. He smiles brightly and offers a sincere thank you to the ancient master. But the sword god's expression turns dark and serious. He smirks and drops a massive bombshell. There are severe life-threatening side effects. Jo Hwi's smile completely vanishes. The sword god explains the brutal reality of the Murim world. Jo Hwi has skipped all the fundamental steps. He has 0 real combat experience, 0 accumulated battlefield comprehension, and no true foundation. The sword god used the sheer, overwhelming strength of his own remaining life force to forcibly rip open all of Jo Hwi's meridians and burn the heavenly god speed sword into his biological system. Because of this artificial shortcut, if Jo Hwi encounters any trained warrior who belongs to the exact same cultivation realm, Jo Hwi will always come out utterly defeated. His body has the power, but his mind and muscle memory don't know how to actually fight. There is only one way to mitigate this fatal flaw and stabilize his stolen power. He must travel to the perilous, legendary location known as the Sword Grave. Unless he undergoes the trials of the sword grave, his power will remain an unstable illusion. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Jo Hwi stares out into the night. The clock is ticking. He resolves that the absolute second his current obligations in this estate are fulfilled, he will make haste directly to the sword grave. The faster, the better. Meanwhile, across the grand estate, the chapter closes with a hilarious look at what the Namgung elders are up to. Inside a brightly lit room, the wild-haired elder is putting his own son through absolute martial torment. The son is sweating profusely, exhausted, begging his father to finally let him go home. But the wild-haired elder snaps at him to shut up and make his next theoretical move. The son sighs and states he will use the 7-star footwork to slide behind the enemy and strike high using the Leviathan dragon form. The elder bursts out laughing, calling his own son an absolute idiot. He mocks him for choosing the Leviathan dragon form out of all available options, shouting that this exact lack of strategic depth is why the son is stuck remaining in his current mediocre cultivation realm. The elder then counters, explaining how he would easily dodge using Ojagiol's footwork and completely shatter the attack with a Sungchun second form sweep to the legs. The son hangs his head in utter defeat, muttering, "I have lost." The elder gloats, laughing heartily about how natural it is for him to emerge victorious. This pushes the son completely over the edge. He draws his sword in a fit of rage, screaming that he can't take this torture anymore and is leaving. He rants about how it has already been 2 whole days since he was even allowed to see his own kids, all because his father is obsessed with reconstructing his loss. As the son storms out, the wild-haired elder ignores the outburst entirely, stroking his beard in deep thought. He replays Jo Hwi's moves over and over in his mind. He realizes Jo Hwi utilized a completely unorthodox style, using a basic defensive form with the exact same weight, flexibility, and intent as an advanced offensive vanguard strike. He realized Jo Hwi manipulated basic feints to perfectly adapt to highly variable tactical situations, turning a simple 3-power sword into a masterpiece of psychological warfare. The elder's eyes widen in absolute awe and madness as he screams to the empty room. Just who on earth is that man? Who is it that made you a complete tactical maniac for the basic 3-power sword? And that is where Chapter 12 ends, leaving the entire Namgung clan completely turned upside down by a modern corporate manager who just wanted to run a quiet business enterprise. What did you guys think of Jo Hwi's incredible musical breakthrough with Saso, and how do you think he will survive the terrifying upcoming journey to the sword grave? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next chapter breakdown. Bye-bye.